Morning, guys. It's Thursday. You know what that means. Today we're going to talk about realtors. We're going to talk about agents and brokers. Man, we got a lot to say about them this morning. And we're also going to have a student come in from the $7 group this morning. They're going to talk about a deal that they're looking at, and we're going to get you guys to help us evaluate that and see what you do if you were presented with something like this. So go grab your coffee or your favorite drink and come back and check us out. We'll be back in 45 seconds. Morning, Deed Grabbers.
Good morning.
Welcome to Go Talk. Go Talk's our weekly Facebook Live where we talk about real estate and what we're doing around here and what you guys are doing. Hey, if you're watching us on Facebook, we'd like to ask you to go check us out on our YouTube channel. You can go to sub2tv.com and subscribe to our channel. We release a video almost every single day, something to help you with your real estate investing business. We would love it if you would share the link over there on YouTube. Share that on your wall. Share it with your investing friends. Let them come join us. If you haven't yet, go download our free creative finance guide. You can go to sub2deals.com/CFG. It'll go over several different creative ways that you can buy real estate. And it's absolutely free. We all love that, don't we? So go check that out, sub2deals.com/CFG. Realtors, man, if you've got a realtor story, we'd love to hear it. Say hey to us. Let us know where you are, who you are, so we can say good morning. Good morning, John Bates. Good to see you. Ryan Gallagher, good to see you as well. Woo, what a week. You want to start
It's
it?
like a roller coaster week.
Yeah, it has. If you guys have been following us, you know that since we got to Arkansas, we have found some deals that were more suited to flipping them. I haven't wholesaled in years, and I don't think I'm wholesaling now. If you're a wholesaler, give me your definition of wholesaling. What do you think wholesaling is, Princess Jodi?
I don't know. You'd think we'd know after being investors for so long
Mm.
that we know the difference, but everyone has a different definition.
Well, there's so many new terms out there now,
Right.
things that have been,
And
called one thing.
people call things different things.
Right.
Um, I feel like wholesaling is that you sell a contract
Mhm.
that you don't close on it. You
Right.
shop it around to somebody else for them to close on.
Right. You
That's not
sell
what we're doing, but
you
it kind of
sell you sell the contract, or you rely on your buyer's funds to fund the whole transaction. You
right,
collect your fee out of the
and you
middle.
get the difference,
That's
right?
what I thought it always was. Marty said, let's see. Well, Ryan says getting house under contract, selling the contract,
That's what I would
locking
say.
up the contract, and assigning it. Right. That's what I think it is.
Me
Um,
too.
yeah. You know,
I guess some people have a different idea about that around here.
mhm. Years ago, actually doing sandwich lease options is when I got started doing it. I had a sandwich lease option situation. I'd been through two or three tenant buyers. I know you're not supposed to use that term, but hey, listen, we all know what they are. Um, and that were not successful, and I felt like there was significant equity in this property to still make money. But the biggest thing was I didn't want to hand the house back to the seller. He was an older guy. He really wanted it gone. I didn't want to put that burden on him. There wasn't
Right.
much profit to be made. And the solution seemed to be just listing the house and selling it. It was a nice home. But you discover it's hard to list a house if you don't own it. And that's when I discovered using a power of attorney would allow me to do that. So we started getting power of attorney from our sellers and using that as a possible exit strategy. And it's worked well for 15 years.
And it worked well here for the first time or two.
Yeah. So that's what we started doing here. We would find I don't know if we're lucky or we're just super dang good, but we would lock houses up at a really good price with plenty of margin and list those on the MLS here. Even though we hadn't took title yet, we were fully able and capable of closing and intended to, regardless of whether we found a buyer on the MLS.
Right.
But we were trying to take additional advantage of that extra 30, 45 days.
Yeah, you want to save that time and not just waste it.
And it worked super well the first time. We locked the house up for 33. We sold it for 115. We made $71,000 at closing. We got a second one that we got under contract for 150. We got it under contract to sell for 230. Anticipated profit after cost of 65 to 70. It's closing in about a week. And then we listed a third one this past week that we got under contract for 102 and listed for 230. And all of a sudden the rug just got pulled out from under us. They said, we can't do any more of these. So what could the problem be? All of a sudden there was an issue. There wasn't an issue before, but now there's a huge issue.
Well, the issue that they said was we can't sell it because we don't own it. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, well, you let us sell the first one.
Right. The second one's, you let us continue with that. But the third one just seemed to be too much. And what's the reasoning for that? I mean, we've spent the last 2 days, nonstop talking to agents, talking to brokers, meeting with agents and brokers
and attorneys,
and texting with them, talking to them on the phone, and the
local agents,
yeah,
still feel like if you don't own it, you can't list it.
Mm-hmm.
And there is some wording in the listing contract that kind of says that, but the power of attorney should, take care of that.
And even a statement, because, we're all about problem solving. That's what we do. That's how we make money. So, and when we're in conversation with these people, we're like, okay, what do we need? And disclosure is the word that keeps coming up a lot. And we're fine with disclosure. In fact, the seller, we're closing on the house next week. We told them what we were going to sell the house for.
Right.
And they
so the seller is not in the dark about anything.
Mm-hmm.
And the buyer also is not in the dark about anything. In fact, even if the buyer doesn't know exactly what's going on, I mean, we're having a normal closing for that. And there's going to be a title search and a title, what do you call it?
A title commitment.
Title insurance and stuff for them. So they have nothing to worry about. If we weren't to close on that first transaction, they'd be out some time and they wouldn't get their house, but they wouldn't be out any money.
Right.
So there's really no harm to them except for that the deal fell through.
Mm-hmm.
But we haven't had that even happen. So I'm not really sure why they're freaking out.
Yeah. I think, I don't know, somehow, I don't even think what we're doing is wholesaling. We certainly
it's not wholesaling.
We have the ability to close. We can go ahead. We're just trying to take advantage of that lead time that we have. And what was really funny about these conversations the last couple of days is when they would say, well, if you would just do this. And if we said, okay, no problem, we'll do that. So can we proceed? Well, there's another thing. And one person actually said it had something to do with the amount of money we were making.
It had something to do with what?
The amount of money that we're making on these transactions. You remember that?
How can that be a legal reason?
That the possibility that they'll be sued because they listed the house and they were somehow involved in it.
I don't know how that could happen. The seller already knows.
I don't either. So if you guys have some agent stories, let us know. Marty had a question here. Is it like a novation? I'm going to tell you something, Marty. Um, that's another one of those new terms, I guess, that I don't know about a novation. My understanding of a novation is if you partner with a seller to improve a property and sell it and split profits. This is nothing like that, Marty. The way this thing works, the way we've been doing this successfully, is if you call me with a house for sale and I say, Marty, because I ask this question to every seller, I don't like to make offers. I like to pay people what they want. And I'll also get a better deal a lot of times. That's a topic for another day. But I'm going to say, we're going to talk about your house, talk about your situation. I'm going to say, Marty, what have you got to get for this house to sell it to me? And if you say, well, I want 100,000, and I say, well, I can do that, and we write a contract for 100,000, my research indicates to me that your house in its present condition is worth 200, then I should be able to list that house for 180 for a really fast sale. And after I pay commissions and fees, I'll clear $60,000. Is there anything wrong with that total transaction? You asked me for 100, I gave it to you. I determined it was worth more. I discounted it slightly to get a really fast sale. The agents made money. You got what you wanted. I made $60,000. I don't see anything wrong with that. But apparently, in Northwest Arkansas, there's a big problem with some
I'm not
agents.
sure if it's all of Northwest Arkansas. I
Yeah.
think it's one person that freaked out and spread the fear into all of their,
Yeah.
colleagues.
Yeah. Could be.
I
I
really
don't
do.
know.
I really
I
do. I
don't,
don't think that they're all like that. I just, I mean, I can't imagine that they have to all think
mhm.
like that.
Yeah.
If it was true, if they were already afraid of that situation, then they
Mhm.
would have stopped us on day one. But
Yeah.
I think something freaked them out as we went.
Yeah.
And
Well,
it's, and
yeah.
then they didn't. The part that really bothered me is that they didn't even call and say, "There's a thing in here. There's a situation in here that we don't like that makes us feel uncomfortable or at risk or something. If you can fix that and change the way you do that, or
Mhm.
even if they would have said, can you wait till you close to list with us? We might not have,
Right.
but at least we would have known where we stand.
Mhm. Yeah. Well, I think we've got the problem solved, and we'll talk more about that if it solves it. And if it doesn't, we'll talk more about that later. But it's just interesting, and we had several conversations with different agents yesterday, and I think actually a memo went out about us calling us by name here because a couple of the agents that we were supposed to follow up with. Uh,
Because I
uh,
made a post, just so you
right.
clarify. I
Yeah.
made a post looking for a new agent, saying we're investors. We're looking for some agents who are creative and want to work with us and close several transactions this year. And I got 40 agents or more respond, and two of them said, "Sure, we'd love to do that. Let's meet and we'll get together." And then an hour later, they both two of them said, "I'm gonna have to cancel. No explanation. Just I'm gonna have to
Mhm.
cancel." And one person never answered me, but the other person, when I asked them why, they said, "Well, we just don't feel comfortable with how you do business." Like what?
Well, and it might be worth adding that both of these agents work for branches of this particular.
Oh yeah, that's what I was getting at. Those two people were from that same company. That's why I
Mhm.
said I'm sure the memo went out to say,
Right,
"Don't do it."
right.
I'm
And
like,
and
wow,
and
now I feel like a criminal.
and what did the one guy tell you? I think you would be better off. You should call so and so.
Right.
His morals are different than ours.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
I said,
actually
wow,
use.
I can't believe you're questioning my morals. And he said, it's not yours. I'm speaking of his morals, not yours. And I'm like, wow, still.
Yeah, you're better suited to this guy because he's questionable or something along those
Agents
lines.
are just,
I don't know.
they're just vultures.
Yeah, for sure. But like I said, I think we've got our problem solved, and we'll
Yeah.
get to continue to do business the way we have, which is totally ethical, it's totally legal. And interestingly enough, even if they don't like wholesalers, if that's what they think we are and they don't like it. And in fact, we were told that this company was going to send out a memo telling all of their agents, do not work with wholesalers.
Right.
Period. And interestingly enough, there are no wholesaling laws in Arkansas.
Mm-hmm.
None.
I understand if their policy is that they don't want to work with wholesalers. I get why wholesalers, you know, suck.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And I get why sometimes people wouldn't want to, you don't want your deals falling apart all the time because they can't find a buyer. That's awful. I understand that. But I mean, if it's a policy, that's fine. But they didn't even find out what our uh, business model was and that we are closing. In fact, that broker called our attorney and asked him about that. And he said, he said they close on their deals before the second transaction with their own money, and that didn't seem to matter to him, I guess. Anyway, it's kind of irritating.
Yeah. So if you guys have any agent stories, we'd love to hear them. Let's see. Matt had a question. I got a lead on a turnkey property in Palm Harbor, Florida, with an ARV around $1 million. Mortgage is 600. She wants 100 to walk away. Only about 100K in equity. Might be open to sub 2. Would you do it? There's a couple of things I would consider, Matt. Number one, you have to know your area values. How is the market trending? 100,000 in equity on $1 million property isn't much. If she has $1 million property, if she lists it, she might net about what she wants for it. So she's not making you any kind of deal. You're basically paying full price for the house. I don't know what your exit strategy is. How are you going to cash flow in this thing? Do you intend to sell or finance it? Because if that's your out, I'll tell you, those high dollar mortgages in the market that we're in right now, those high dollar properties are the first ones to take a hit. That house might not be worth 800,000 in another 6 months. We just don't know. That would probably be pretty scary for me. If I had a buyer waiting in the wings, happy to buy that house and give me, 80, 100,000 down for that thing, maybe. But otherwise, I don't think so. That's just me. I'm pretty conservative. I had this conversation with one of our students this morning about certainty, and he was talking about how conservative he is on a deal. And I said, there's nothing wrong with that. But the keys here are, what's your exit strategy? Do you have a sound one? You're going to need a super high cash flow on $1 million property for me to be interested in it. A lot of people with high dollar stuff say, oh man, I'm going to Airbnb this. And that sounds great. I'm going to make 10,000 a month because I'm going to Airbnb this property. But what happens when that municipality or your city says, you know what, we're tired of Airbnbs. We don't want them anymore. You got 30 days to end it. And that's just too risky for me. Let's see. Try to own or finance it out at a higher interest rate. Yeah, I don't think so. Not me. I think Ryan has a comment on. Are you sure the ARV is 1 million in Palm Harbor? Or is it on the water? And then Matt says, I wasn't liking the deal anyway. Yes, it's on the water. So anyway, I don't know about that. Hey, Vincent, good to see you. Dog ate your homework. Hey, listen, it happens. We all have stuff happen. So, neighbor sold at $1 million. Okay. Well, how long ago was that, Matt? Does the neighbor, who bought that house? Do they want another one? I don't know. Get an option on it. You know what? An option doesn't cost you anything. You can shop it around, see if you can find a buyer, see if she'll give you an option. If she'll give you an option to buy at her terms, and then if you bring in your buyer and you feel really good about it, then you can buy it. But that'll give you the option to do that. Hey, Brian Bagnall, good to see you. Y'all, excuse me. I've had the worst cold in the world. I think Jodi's might be getting it now.
No, I'm starting to get a little scratchy.
How do you handle the insurance? Do you get new insurance? Yes, Vincent, you do. And we've got an article at Sub Two Deals all about it, man. Let's see.
We should have that article. We should have the link to the article handy, so because that question is asked a lot.
It is asked a lot. We've got a couple of videos on it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, on the YouTube channel. Hey, I may have to go off camera for a second.
Are you okay?
I don't know.
Okay. I'll talk for a minute.
I'll be right back.
Go cough for a second. Okay. Do we have any other questions here? I don't even know if we do. Okay, we don't have any other questions, so now I have to just wing it. All right, I'll tell you a story about. I had a friend who came to visit, a husband and wife. They came to visit last week, and their brother, Todd's brother, is watches our live here sometimes, and he said all she ever does is drink coffee. Now I'm feeling all self-conscious because I do. I drink a lot of coffee. I drink a lot of coffee on the air. But that's what I do. Are you okay in there? The deal, let's put this up here. How's that deal where you brought in 70K? Well, that we sold that. We just bought it and sold it same day. And we just drove by it yesterday, and the wholesaler that bought it from us, the rehabber that bought it from us, has not even started on it. It's been sitting there just like it was for 3 months, and I'm kind of not annoyed, but it's kind of annoying that they haven't even started, because I want to see the progress. I want to see that thing turn from an ugly duckling into a swan, but they haven't done anything yet. And I don't really know. I really don't know if there was a lawsuit that was filed against the first owner before we had it, and we got that taken care of. But they said if this house isn't kind of cleaned up, they're going to reissue, restart the lawsuit. And so I don't know if they're doing that or not. They could be in trouble. I don't know. Anyway. So that's how that's going. It's going nowhere. It's just sitting there. But we did our part. We bought it and got the squatter out of there and handed it to somebody who could fix it, but they're not fixing it. So.
Yeah. Yeah, John, that's a possibility, but I don't think we're going to do that before the show's over.
Oh, yeah, that would be fun to watch, wouldn't it? As you slowly get hammered on live. Okay, I don't know who this is. I don't know if that's Dina. Dina was trying to get in somewhere. I'm not sure.
Oh, is it Dina? Hey, Dina, good to see you here this morning.
I'm not sure if it is Dina, but she asked for the link or something.
Heard another trainer say when doing sub 2 on a pre-foreclosure, you need to wait a period of time. I don't agree with that. Why would you wait? Well, here's what happens when you wait. When you wait, that's just a longer opportunity for judgments, liens, other things for the seller to get on title for you. How in the world is the bank going to notice the deed's been transferred? They're not. I'm telling you, when you send that check in, when you bring that loan current, they put that file away. It's done. Nobody's looking back on it.
You don't think the loss mitigators might look at it now and then for judgments and things like that?
I don't think so. This is what I know. When I deal with people in pre-foreclosure, before I send $1 in, I'm going to record that deed. And I've been doing it that way for 24 years. I'm not saying it won't start happening tomorrow. God knows things change every day. But I'm saying that I have never experienced
I'm sure you're right. But I can see, where that might, I understand the thinking on that. Mm-hmm. That if the bank is about to do a short sale or about to foreclose, they may check periodically to see what new judgments that person has or something like that, and they might see it. I think it's pretty unlikely, but
I don't think the bank's worried about it. They are going to check title because they have to notify everyone that has an interest in that property. But the bank's not worried about any liens or judgments that pop up after the fact because that foreclosure is going to wipe them out.
Right. That's true.
Unless it's a federal tax lien or something like that.
Yeah.
So anyway, hey, we got Dina in here this morning. So hey, Dina, what's up?
Hi, Dina. There you are.
Okay, figure out how to do this. It's
like you have a propeller on top of your head.
Yes, ceiling fan.
Hey, I didn't really mean to come on the show.
When you pop in here,
we're gonna drag you right in.
Subject to being brought on. We've got a $7 coaching that's going to come in a few minutes and talk about a deal she's doing. So what are you up to?
Well, you know me, just taking over the universe here in Kentucky.
That's right. Yeah, for sure. That's what we're trying to do down here. The agents are trying to squash our efforts.
Yeah, I mean, these agents, I mean, you know how I feel about them. I mean, they can mess up. The only sayings I have for that are just totally inappropriate, but y'all know everything they can mess up.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
But I had one call me the day before yesterday, and he had decided when he's a mortgage broker and a realtor. He had decided when everything went south and all his business dried up that he was going to need to flip houses. So of course he calls me. And so they run this title, and then he tells me that, well, he can't close it because he can't get title insurance because I haven't paid off the mortgage. So he didn't buy it. So now 2 days ago, he calls wanting to buy it. And I said, because he can't find anything. And I said, well, Brian, you're going to have a real hard time if a lien is going to, the whole thing. I said, better, all the liens get paid off at close, but they get so caught up with anyway. So then he found a different title company who, was fine with paying off. So it's just crazy how they think.
Right. It's for sure. And the irony of all of it is they're considered the authority, the experts.
Right. There's no doubt that it's completely an antitrust violation how it goes down. Even like in short sales, required that an agent be used, that's an antitrust violation.
Yeah.
And, they're worried about, I only saw that one little comment of yours, but, they're worried about your checks. I mean, there are many equity in a property is the money that the realtor walks away with. And the people walk away with nothing lots of times,
right.
And they're worried about how much money you make.
Yeah.
Anyway,
that's a fact. I know it's crazy. It's crazy. Let's see.
I was just going to say, I used to be an agent. And when people asked me, are you a realtor? I'd be like, okay, well, I have my license, but I'm not like regular agents.
Right.
I wanted to distance myself as much as I could.
And a lot of people, as soon as you start talking about houses and buying, I mean, they assume that's what I am. I'm like, listen, I'm not trying to list your house. I'm not an agent. So I find myself doing that all the time too. No.
Yeah. Well, thanks for popping in on us, Dina. It's always nice to see you. You're killing it out there.
Just be careful what links you click on. You might just get dragged in.
I know. I clicked on that Zoom one, and then it wanted, and I'm like, I don't know. I just need to be able to push a button and see what y'all are saying if I want to.
Yeah.
Well, if you go to YouTube, you won't risk getting dragged in.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks for sending me the stream link or whatever it was. Then.
That's what I'm saying. Watch what you click on.
Okay.
All right, Dina. Have a great day.
Y'all have a great day too.
Thanks.
See you later, Dina.
Dina's killing it in Kentucky, man. She came to a boot camp of mine about 20 years ago, and she's been just an absolute.
You want to catch up on these?
Yeah. We've got Ronnie in the green room here. We're going to bring her in just a minute to talk about her deal. Brian said, I've been receiving a bit of resistance getting 2 points above normal interest rates when selling on a contract for deed. Are you guys experiencing the same? I've been finding myself lowering the interest rates to actually below market just to get buyers that can afford the payment. Wanted to see if you guys had any input on this. Jodi and I were just talking about this yesterday. You will have people that'll question your interest rate. the important thing about affordability, and Brian, I know you know this, you don't want to go much above what the rental rate for that house is. If the rental rate for that house is $2,800 a month, you might get 2,850, 2,900. That's about it. If the market rental rate is accurate and that's what people are renting for, they can afford to buy that house. And you want to make your interest rate work with that. As far as selling, because they have problems about what you're charging, if it's in line with rent rates, my response to those people is, if they question my interest rate, is, well, where do you think you can do better? Well, Bank of America, blah, blah, blah. Well, then Bank of America needs to give you a loan to buy this house. That's just it. There's a reason you're talking to me. Bank of America won't finance you for one of several reasons. It's your property. It's your rules. If you can lower that interest rate to below market rent rates and still make money, and you're cool with that, then you do it. That's your business. But if somebody wants to be argumentative on the front end, questioning what I'm charging, which I know are fair rates, that's probably not the person I want to be in a relationship with for the next few years. So you got to set the tone for how you're going to do business right away. That's my thought on it. What do you think, Jodi? Yeah,
I agree.
Establish who's in charge right now. Okay. All right, we've got some questions. We're going to go ahead and bring Ronnie in. We'll try to get to everybody before we get off this call today. Ronnie's one of our $7 group coaching students, and she sent me a deal last night, and I said, well, why don't you come on and talk about this? We'll talk about it today, see what everybody thinks about it. Hey, Ronnie, good to see you.
Hi.
Morning.
Hey. Well, Ronnie, don't list any identifying information, name of your seller or the address of the property, but tell us a little bit about it, how you found it, what the situation is, just the information basically that you sent me last night. Tell us all about it.
Okay. I normally just call realtors and days on market. Normally I do 90 plus days on market, and I just pick up the phone and call the realtor to see what's going on. So I just so happened to call her on a another listing, made an offer. They rejected it. They went with a cash offer. So she last Friday emailed me and said, hey, did I give you a follow-up on the offer that you submitted? And I'm like, no. She said, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. She said that, it's pending. They went through its inspection. And, but by the way, I have another house that will fit your model terms. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I just started asking questions like, hey, does it have a mortgage? She said, yes, new build. No one's lived in it, only owned it for 6 months. And I'm like, okay. So at first I didn't know she was the owner until I just started asking more questions, and I found out she's the realtor slash owner. So I'm like, oh, okay. So I came up with a structure. The listing price is 389,000, and the mortgage. So she emailed me the mortgage statement. It's the balance is 359,000. The PITI is $2,361.35. If it is a FHA loan with a 4.75% interest, and so she asked questions such as, what will happen if you don't pay? So I told her that we will have the property is in Texas. So I said, well, we'll do a D in lieu. So I explained that to her, and she asked me, well, how long would you like the loan to be? And I'm like, so I kind of got stuck on that one because I thought when you did a subject to, you just take over the entirety of however long is. And so I said, and then she said, well, I don't want to stay on the loan forever. And I'm like, I completely understand. So at first I suggested 10 years. And she said, well, 10 years is too long. What about 6 or 7 years? And I said, okay. And then that's where I got stuck. So market rents are normally 20, it's a 4 bedroom, 1 study, 2,001 square feet. and the market rents for that area is about 2,400 to 2,800.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought it was kind of tight because her mortgage payment was 23, close to 2,400, and that will be market rent if I'm conservative.
Right.
So that's I don't know if you I'm sorry, I'm just going on and rambling.
No, not at all. You're giving everybody the facts on it. I mean, I had all of this stuff last night, and I wanted to get some feedback. I actually posted this deal in the Sub 2 Max group and said, "What do you guys think about this?" And we got some different comments that I'll get into later. My first thought when you said also she has an appraisal in hand. It's valued at 398 right now.
Correct.
So what she has agreed to take from you is a sale price of 377,
Hmm.
with you giving her 18,000 down, take over her payments, 6-year balloon, because she doesn't want the loan out there longer than 6 years. Um, the first thing that I would say is you need to tighten up what that house will rent for. That's $400 is a pretty wide range for that house. This is
Okay.
this is a brand new house. You should know with certainty what that house will rent for. I would call a property management company, other agents, not her, and say, listen, I've got a brand new 4-bedroom, 2-bath, 2,000 square feet study, the whole 9 yards. What can you get me a renter for? Go to Rentometer, Rentometer, whatever you call it. Plug in the address, get some ideas from them. If it is the upper range, okay, Phil Smith's in here saying he would do it if you didn't want it. So maybe you need to talk to Phil. Y'all might can work something out on a fee or something for passing on. But I would be very certain on the rent. You got a good solid 2,800 a month in rent. Okay, then you can move forward. The next thing is a buyer. Do you collect any type of buyer's list? What is your certainty that how quickly are houses selling there? Now this one's been on the market around 30 days,
Hmm.
but not offering terms. Okay, because I read her listing and she's not saying anything about terms. That
No.
might change things.
Hmm.
What are the chances of you getting $30,000 from someone for a down payment in this case?
Hmm.
You know,
I went on Renometer, and the reason why, because she has it listed for 5 bedrooms. So
mhm,
on Renometer, I put in 4 bedrooms and excluded the one study. So it
right.
came up to 2,400. When I
Mhm.
added the 5 bedrooms, that's where I got the 2,800.
Okay, all right. Well, again, I would call a property management company somebody
Okay.
that specializes in renting out houses. They know what they can get for a house in that neighborhood in that condition. I mean, I looked at the pictures. I mean, the house is brand new. Nobody's lived in it. It's
Correct.
immaculate, and everybody wants a new house. My thing on this, it is thin. There's no equity.
Hmm.
You know, a year ago, 2 years ago, that's no sweat, no equities, no problem. Now, in our market as it sits, it could be a problem. I
Because you
would
don't want
be
it to turn into negative equity.
right. Turning
Hmm.
into negative, on a tight, if this thing was at 3% and you were looking at 600 or 800 a month in cash flow, Vincent's here. He says, I can help you with comps and a buyer. So maybe you want to talk to Vincent. Vincent's on here, and maybe you guys can connect on that or something. He can assist you. This is outside of Houston. No, it's
You know,
outside. It's outside of Fort Worth. It's about 30 minutes outside of Fort Worth. Correct?
yes.
Okay. Um, so if I had two things, if I had a ready buyer with 30,000 or more as a down payment,
Okay.
and I was certain that the rent rates were 2,800, I would probably do this based on the condition of the house and everything else. It's a brand new house. Even if you have to resort to a rental, your chances of having problems with AC or roof or electrical or other things are very small. This house is still under builder's warranty. Everything's brand new. Correct?
Correct. I well, yeah, I believe so. I
Right.
didn't confirm that.
But here's where you would be on this thing. It's currently listed for 389.
Hmm.
I would take it sell it for $399 with seller financing, I would be looking for $30,000 minimum down. If you give her $18,000 down, that's going to put $12,000 in your pocket on the front end. Okay, because the house needs nothing. You're not going to have to do anything to this house based on closing costs. Okay. I would also be trying to set a payment in the $2,800 to $2,900 a month range. That's going to give you between $400 and $500 a month in cash flow. Okay. And if you're successful in that, you'll have $12,000 on the front end. If they refinance you in 3 years, you'll have about $15,000 in cash flow, and you'll have about a $23,000 back end on this house. So you'll make over $50,000 on this house over 36 months. Okay. But there are, like I said, there are a couple of ifs in here. You need to have that buyer that's got that down payment. How hard is that going to be for you to do? Vincent says he can help you out. I don't know. You'd have to have a conversation with him. You've got to have certainty on that rent rate.
Okay.
Okay. That's important, because if that rent rate is 24, you got no cash flow. You got nothing. Okay. You're going to collect a little money on the front end. You'll collect a little money on the back end. Your profit goes from over 50,000 down to 30, maybe 35. And that's just too tight in a market that could go either way for me. Okay. But I'm pretty conservative too. Right. But I'm telling you, kudos to you for pulling those lists and getting on the phone with those sellers. And, obviously, that's working for you. How long have you been doing that?
I've been in real estate for a while and was a real estate agent. So, but as far as the creative financing, less than 3-4 months.
Okay, so you've been doing it for 3 or 4 months. This is the first deal that you've gotten from calling these agents on doing it?
I have gotten other ones, but they kind of fizzled out, or it just didn't work. Where the realtor was, or director, owner, or seller was okay. Like I had one in Atlanta for $4 million, but come to find out, the ordinances said that we couldn't do short-term rentals.
Right.
It was an 8-bedroom, 9-bathroom house. So we had to kind of walk away on that one.
Yeah. I'll tell you this too. I don't like that 6-year balloon. I would really push for that 10, like you asked for. I really would. And depending on how motivated she is, and you can just say, listen, I'd love to be able to promise you in 6 years, but if I have a buyer that doesn't work out and I have to put another one in, and for some reason they don't work out, I'm going to be making the payments in the meantime. And normally we say no balloon. We'll pay it off when we pay it off. But 10 years on a brand new home like that, I would probably go with 10 years. But she'll have to. What's her deal? Why 6? What's the difference in 6 and 10?
She's just very adamant. She's just very adamant that she doesn't want her it to prolong. That's just, she keeps on saying, because this is not her primary home. She got it for a relative.
Right.
So this is like an additional. So she just doesn't want she just keeps on saying she doesn't want it in her name for forever.
Well, the house won't be in her name. The mortgage will be. And, she's tired of making $2,400 a month payments. And she's been doing it for 6 months. So, yeah, she's tired of that.
Yeah.
I would try to push to get that 10 years from her.
Okay.
But otherwise, talk to Vincent, talk to these guys. Oh, Brian.
Thank you.
All right.
Well, listen, we appreciate you coming on and talking about it, and would love to hear ultimately what happens with that. But I'll tell you this too: if you think it's something you want to pursue, don't wait. Get it under contract. Okay. Get it under contract. Give yourself 2 weeks. There's no distress here other than her not wanting to make that payment. Give yourself 2 weeks or 30 days for due diligence. Try to find that buyer. Be certain on that rent rate, and get out there and make some money. Yeah.
I do have a quick question. When you do a state contract and it's the subject to, I know some contracts have that in the contract. Do I put anything like in addition, like the additional space, or is there a different another contract that goes along
Well,
with?
For the
you can
state
use.
contract,
Yes, ma'am.
I don't. I guess that depends on the state. I don't know for sure.
Okay.
You can use any contract for sub two. Cross out what's not applicable and add an addendum or special stipulations that spell out exactly what you want to do.
I would only say if realtors are used to certain things, try to do what they, the way they do it, so they don't
Mhm.
freak out.
Right.
We've made many sub two offers on state contracts. We did
Yeah.
it all the time
Just
in
do what they're
Colorado.
used to, though.
Right. And you just, what you can do if you're making a lot of them, you're just going to create an addendum that's specific to what you're doing. You're going to attach that to every one of those state contracts. And that's going to make it really easy.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
So good to meet you, and
Hey.
congrats on, what could be a good deal for you. And really, though, seriously, on just taking some action and talking to people.
Exactly. Hmm.
Gosh, so many people are just afraid to
So
pick
many
up the
people
phone.
freeze right before the action step.
Yeah. So good for you.
Good
Thanks.
Thank
job.
you.
All right. Have a good day.
You too.
All
Bye.
right. Okay. Well, somebody that does something. That's great. Let me see.
No,
We've
it's
got
nice.
some other questions. We'll try to get to those before we get out of here. We were talking about the pre-foreclosures earlier. Vincent said, I wholesale the pre-foreclosure. The investor bought sub two, no issues. I'm telling you, nobody's going to go in there looking, monitoring the deed. The way that your lender finds out that title has transferred is the insurance declaration page that they get. It's got a new owner on there, a new primary loss paid. That is how they find it. It's not from anything at the courthouse. Um,
What I liked is that insurance agent that we talked to yesterday, like, was aware of that and said they were, careful about how they worded things and stuff to
Right.
not be alarming people.
Sure.
So you got to have a good insurance agent.
Mhm.
Or company.
Is your buyer, when you're selling on the MLS, getting a new loan or paying cash? We had one that we had on lease option. The lender and title company said we could not do it because we were not in the chain of title, so we gave up our option position in exchange for a second lien, which got paid at closing. The seller sold directly to the buyer that we brought in. We signed disclosures. Yeah,
Facebook user, you should tell us what your name is.
yeah. We'd love
Probably
to know.
already done before.
Our buyers so far are getting financing. They've all been getting financing. So, but I know what you're talking about on that lease option stuff, and you can do that. In fact, someone that I know, and I won't go into who and all those details, actually taught a wholesaling course that focused on uh, getting the seller at the time of the contract to sign a mortgage, basically for their anticipated profit. And that got recorded at the courthouse. So then they didn't have to worry about a lot of things. Number one, they didn't have to worry about the seller going around them because that mortgage was on record. And two, the investor's payday was just built right into that thing. He got called for a mortgage payoff statement, which just coincidentally happened to be the fee he expected to collect. That's a topic for another day. We can talk about that later, and I can tell y'all how that works. But yeah, I know what you're talking about with that. And that's a way to fix it. I think this was talking about the agents. Yeah, it's a monopoly. Yep, that's right. Agents, I'm telling you, I used to talk really bad about agents, and I stopped doing it. I don't know why. I guess because I didn't deal with them for a really long time, and I forgot how bad they were. But agents talk more about ethics than anyone, and they have fewer than anyone. So it's really ironic. Have you considered having in your paperwork, if the due on sale is called, you can deed it back to the seller and immediately switch to a lease option with the purchase price being the loan balance? No, I haven't, because I'm just not worried about the due on sale clause. And when you start putting a lot of crazy things in there like that, some sellers will be like, listen, I don't want to get this house back. I want to know it's gone when I sell it. And that can just make people go, this is a little bit weird. When I sit down with a seller and I say, I'm going to buy your house, we agree on terms, they have the certainty that the house is sold. And that's one reason we can buy houses cheap, isn't it, Jody?
Yep.
There's not a lot of conditions and a lot of what if and all that stuff. Most sellers don't know about the due on sale unless you make them aware of it. They may have a question. Most don't care. They just don't care. And
Most of them don't care about anything. They don't care if you make a profit. They don't care what you do with it. I mean, because they just want out. They don't care.
I can't guarantee you that you'll never have a loan call due. What I can tell you is in 24 plus years, making the payments on time, insuring the loan, the property properly, I've never had it happen. I don't expect it to happen. I don't think they can.
That was, I think that was Mark. That was who the Facebook user is.
Okay. Who are you, Mark?
I know.
Go to that link.
Maybe that wasn't that one. The first one you did. I don't know which one we're on anymore.
When you get power of attorney from the owner is the contract that y'all have with the listing agreement with the original seller or with y'all. I contract to buy with my seller. On the MLS, I contract to sell to the buyer they bring. My seller has nothing to do with that second transaction.
They're completely separate transactions.
They are. They're completely separate. Okay, Phil. If that's you, Phil, contact Ronnie if you want to. She's in the $7 group. If you want to talk to her about it. Same for you, Vincent. You guys need to get together on that if you can help her.
Brian said he'd be interested too.
Yeah, and Brian, always looking for a deal. Let's see. If you purchase subject to, resell the home on a wrap, what would you do if the bank called the loan due later? Well, I'll tell you, Wayne, that's why I don't like selling on a wrap. Once I give title to someone else, my options are limited. Okay, they are. That's why we love contract for deed, because with a contract for deed, I can go in and refinance that loan. I can pull out equity if I want to. If there were to be a due on sale issue, I can refinance to stop that problem. I can do a lot of stuff. If I sell it on a wrap and I give someone else title, I have to unwind that transaction to go in and do those things.
You don't have any power. You just don't have any power.
So my only option at that point is just write a big check and pay that loan off. Okay, that's all I can do. And I don't like to limit my exit options. So that's why
there are options.
There are options.
There are.
You can always.
You're not going to go to prison.
Yeah, just negotiate with the lender. Say, listen, okay, here, this is what's going on. This is what's happening. What can we do? Can I assume the loan? Can I pay your fees and just formally assume this thing? You want to do a loan mod, increase my interest rate? I mean, you've got a lot of stuff that you can do. But selling on a wrap limits you, and that's why we don't like it. Now, I know that's, contract for deed is not an option for you in Texas, and if that's where you are, but in most states it is. So why not just do it that way?
You don't go just straight to jail.
No, there's no due on sale jail. Okay. Let's see. Vincent says put a clause in your paperwork that covers that balloon, and some investors do that. Even if there's a balloon, they'll say, okay, we'll pay this off in 6 years, but only if interest rates are under a certain amount. And so again, it just comes back to talking to the person that you're dealing with, or try to work it out. Explain why 6 years is a burden, and you want to make sure that she doesn't get that house back. So you'll try to do it, but here's where we really need to be. Okay, here's why. Hey, Mike, let us know how it goes. We want to hear all about it. If you need any help, let us know. Let's see. Congrats on selling your deal. Care to share the numbers? Did you talk to Vincent about this already?
No, I'm not sure. I'm not sure which one that is.
I'm not sure.
We must have talked about this last week.
70 down.
I need some clarification on that one.
Yeah, I'm not sure which one that is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's this one. I want to know about this one. I want the answer to.
Yeah, I heard for the first time about innovation to sell property. that you don't have title to. You know, I'm going to tell you, like I said, we've talked to a whole bunch of agents up here the last couple of days, and power of attorney, it's not going to work. A statement that the seller makes specifically on selling on the MLS, making a significant profit, that's not going to work. Closing on the deal first, yes, that will work. Okay, so if I have a deed, and these are all the things these agents said. You talk about them dancing around. There were some politicians. If you have a deed, if you're on title, it's okay. Okay, so if I have a deed, it's fine. I can list it. Well, if you actually closed it and you have closing paperwork, okay, what's closing paperwork? Well, if you closed at a title company. I said, okay, so now you're mandating that I close at a title company, and all of these are standards no seller has to.
Nobody else has to do that.
Nobody. It's just nuts. Doesn't a contract for deed cloud the title to make refinancing the underlying difficult? What clouds it? We don't record anything indicating there's a contract for deed. Now, if you record a memorandum or some kind of announcement of a contract for deed, you may as well sell it on a wrap.
Yeah.
So, no, contract for deed didn't cloud title because there's nothing at the courthouse to do this. So hope that helps. Now, your state may require something to be recorded. I think there are a few that do.
This is Mark. He has the worst trouble getting on live streams. He gets frozen out every time.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't really know what to tell you, Mark. You do have the link, I'm assuming, so I don't really know. I can send you an invitation link directly, but we're almost out of time. But I mean, I don't know.
So
do we have time? Should I see if we want to do it?
Yeah, you can send him one. We got 4 minutes left on here. If anybody's got any questions, if not,
we can go over a little bit too.
Yeah, okay. If y'all have questions, we'll try to get them covered for you this morning. We're actually going out to meet an agent when we leave here today, try to get this house sold that we got under contract. We got this house under contract for $102. It's a sub-2 deal. We're giving the seller $7,000. We're taking over a $95,000 mortgage, and we had it listed for 1 day for $230 before our agents freaked out. Deal you bought a month ago, seller wanted out, you gave him a high down payment. Okay, yeah, Vincent, that's actually the deal that's closing. It was listed on the MLS. The seller originally asked for $200. We went and met with them. We made them a couple of offers: a cash offer of $140, two seller finance offers with larger and smaller down payments. They said, no, we want to sell it. We're not interested in financing it, and we can't take $140. They called us while we were driving home.
$140.
Yeah, $140. They called us while we were driving home and said, we'll take $150. And I said, okay, let me look at some stuff. We called them back the next day and said, I think I found a way for $150 to work. We met with them and said, hey, you guys have an $80,000 mortgage. The $150 will work if we give you $70 for your equity, pay you in full, take over the payments. Mm-hmm. And they said, done. And we listed that house for $250.
And they started packing
They started packing right away. Yeah, we listed the house for $250. We got a full price offer the next day, but it was a couple that didn't have any earnest money. We
didn't want to risk it falling apart, 40 days into it and start over. So we said no.
And then we got an investor offer a couple of days after that for $230 with $5,000 non-refundable deposit. So we took that. And we're supposed to close in about a week.
You're breaking your superstition of talking about it before it's closed.
Well, yeah, we're talking about it. Yeah, I know. I shouldn't do that, really.
You're like, I don't like to say anything before.
Yeah, we don't like to talk about stuff too much before it closes because things have a way of not working out. But there's no reason it shouldn't. We've already had all of our appraisals, inspections. He wanted to take a good look at it, so he did. So all of that stuff is done, and we're just waiting now for The sellers are finishing up their packing. They'll be out in a week or so, and then we'll have our closing. And the intent on this was we didn't get a buyer. Anytime it's possible, it does not, Vincent, just very minor cosmetics. They've lived in the house, what, 12 years?
It could use a little updating. It's not terrible, like terribly outdated,
Right.
But it's in good condition.
Yeah.
It's just a little, 10 years dated, but
Right. Our seller's motivation on this house was they didn't want the uncertainty of not knowing how long it would sit on the market.
Because they want to get going on their motorhome trip.
They bought a new motorhome, and they're anxious to. He's retiring. They're anxious to hit the road. They wanted absolute certainty. Again, there's that word, certainty, that it would close. Our buyer paid for the appraisals and inspections because
we
don't get an appraisal or an inspection. We never do. But we had some options with this house. This house is on the lake. It's water view. We could have paid their $70, sold it with seller financing. We would have left some money in it, but there would have been over $1,000 a month in cash flow in this house.
So because we didn't do an inspection or anything, we have a little bit of risk that something could surface during their inspection. So we kind of cross our fingers a little that there's no big major thing, but we had a lot of room. So even if that happened, we were probably still fine.
Yeah.
But
we've walked through a lot of houses, and we look at some key things, and
occasionally there's something like you can't see, the sewer's got a problem or something.
But you paid him all of his equity. Not yet. We'll pay him. We'll do a double close on this. We'll close the day before. We'll remember we bought it subject to, so we don't have to bring 150. We only have to bring 70. And then the loan will stay in place until the next day when it'll be paid off.
And I'm not sure if this is the question, but it's that originally wasn't all his equity. We're keeping some of it.
Yeah. Well, 70, but we're paying him his 150. We're taking over his $80,000 loan, and we're giving.
Originally his equity was a lot more, but we're taking part of it and he's taking part of it.
Right. For sure. So hope that makes sense. I don't know. He called me and told me what he needed, and we said, okay.
Mark isn't able to get on. I don't know why he has such trouble, but he gets a blank screen. We'll have to troubleshoot with him some other time on that.
Okay. All right, that's cool. Well, listen, guys, we appreciate you hanging out with us this morning. And we want to remind you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, sub2tv.com. We'd love to have you over there. You can join us for Goat Talk every week. Watch all the other videos. And if you're interested in learning how to do creative finance, like Ronnie here this morning, she's a member of our $7 coaching group. So she's getting out there and doing some stuff. $7 a month, guys. That is a Starbucks latte. And I know because we buy a lot of them.
Yeah, we do.
So
thanks for Ronnie and Dina for jumping on today.
Yeah, appreciate Dina coming to see us today, regaling us with all of her stories of Kentucky State.
Catching your cold.
Yeah, I know. So you guys have a great day. We're going to get out of here, and we'll see you next Thursday. Talk to some sellers.
What?
Talk to some sellers.
Oh, and buy some houses.
That's right.
I couldn't hear you.